Good morning, gifted crafters. It's crafting time.
Me and my friends are having a great time. It's not face to face, it's all online. We're all in our homes, miles away. Love them like my family, what can I say? My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Let's have a good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Well, good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. It is Tuesday, another wonderful day for us to be crafting in our craft rooms this morning. So good morning to all of you. Good morning out there. We've got people that tune in from all over the world. So let's see who we have with us today. Alrighty, we've got Faker McFake. He says he's ready to play hopscotch. That's the name of our project that we're going to be working on. We started it off yesterday and we're ready to get going today. All right, good morning to you. Good morning, Annette. Good morning, Robin's Quilt Basket. Good morning, Shirley. Shirley Schlickler. Not sure if I pronounced your last name correctly. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning to who do we have? Cindy Ball. We've got Quilting with Harriet. Good morning from Richmond, Illinois. Of course, we've got Lisa. We've got people from all over the place. It's amazing. You know, you guys are just amazing. We've got all kinds of people from everywhere, and it's absolutely amazing. So we've got our friends from Canada again, and good morning to Harriet. I saw you there too. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I just love that everyone kind of wakes up in the morning and you want to kind of get into your craft rooms. So this is the perfect place for that. Yes, good morning, Jenny, San Antonio, Texas. She is representing out there. Awesome. Alrighty. So guys, it's going to be another fun day. We're going to continue on with our project today, and we're going to have lots of fun because this is kind of it's a quilt kit that I got, but can be followed with anyone's stash that they have out there, right? If you've got a stash of fabrics and you're looking for a fun project to do and maybe have like a panel on the side, not sure what to do with it, this is the perfect project because you can kind of really follow along without even really having a pattern. And I'll share some tips on that as well. So good morning, good morning. Yes. You've got Jenny, Connie, Harriet. Gosh, you guys are amazing. Thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate. Now, if you're here for the first time, my name is Nancy with GiftsHQ. Let us know either in the chat if you're here live, or let us know in the comments if you're watching for the first time. Just say hello. We just really would like to know that you're out there, and you know, we have a great community. So just come on by and, you know, chat with us. We're a lot of fun. We like to kind of just have a good time here. Okay, yeah, Becky, good morning. And Dawn and Sue, good morning. Awesome. You definitely have a stash, Dawn. Yeah, I think we all have some kind of secret stash, at least out there, or an overwhelming stash that maybe you're starting to look like you have a little store. Yeah, maybe something like that, right? Especially when Joann's closed down. I know a lot of people got really deep discounts on those fabrics and they've stocked up. I know I did. So we've got to make use of that fabric, right? And this is a great way to do that. Good morning, Joyce. Yeah, and everyone in the chat. Oh, okay. So let's get going. And good morning, Melissa from East Texas. Okay, we're going to get started. And I like to start all of my lives every morning with a little toast. So we're going to go ahead and toast to a great day. And I hope that you guys all have your nice little drinks on the side, whatever it may be. Go ahead and raise those glasses. And if you don't have one, don't worry, I'm going to pour you a cup. So we'll go ahead and pour you a cup, and then we're going to raise our glasses and just have a toast to a fantastic day that we're all going to have. Awesome. Let's take that little swivel. Maybe a swivel or 2 or 3, right? Now, how many are out there really raising your glasses? Come on, raise those glasses nice and high. You want to have a great day, right? Come on, get those glasses up. This is part of your morning workout. Didn't you know that? We have a workout channel. So when your husbands or significant others ask you, what are you doing that you're tuning in early in the morning? Then you're getting your workout in. You gotta raise those glasses. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and swivel, right? Okay. Oh, feels good. Water, water, water in the morning. Gotta have it. At least 1 cup every day, right? Supposed to have a lot more than that, but you know, I at least start off that way. I may kind of veer off a little bit by the end of the day, but you know, in the morning, we'll get you there. Okay, so we've got our little drinks in place. Let's go grab some snacks, guys, because we've got our food cart today, and we're going to take our little workout today. So time to kind of stretch, and let's go get the snacks. So roll out that food cart. Let's go get our little snacks here. And here we go. We've got our snacks. We've got everything on the cart. Don't worry. We've got all the healthy stuff, but we also got eggs, bacon, omelets. You know, I was kind of in the mood for some pancakes this morning, so maybe we'll do some of that. Yeah, we've got the muffins and the bagels and the croissants and all the little goodies that are out there. Yeah, definitely. We've got that. Oh, and we've got our pumpkins. We can't forget it's Halloween, guys. Come on. We've got to have our pumpkins. And I don't know if there's any pumpkin breakfast food that can be made out there. No. Do you have a recipe for that? Let us know if there's a recipe for pumpkins stuff in the morning. I don't know. But, you know, fake or McFake, you know, you can't grab all the donuts, okay? You gotta leave some for everyone, okay? Don't grab all the donuts now. Leave some for the people behind you. Alrighty, and some candy. All right, well, yeah, well, I guess we'll have some candy. Oh, pumpkin pancakes. You're right, Robin. We can have pumpkin pancakes. There you go. Why not, right? It's Halloween. We're really close to that time, so why not? So I'm not sure if anybody's working on some costumes, but we talked about a little bit about costumes yesterday. I did post that picture of my son with his little Wally homemade costume, and that was his teacher. And she was his teacher from pre-K all through elementary. And she was awesome. She was awesome, and still kind of talk with her today. I mean, she's just one of those teachers that you'll never forget, and she's just awesome. So check out the Facebook group if you haven't seen it. I put the pictures out there so you can see what it looks like. Oh no, Faker McFake, you're not gonna have 10 virtual pounds. No, no, no. No, all of our food is fat-free. You're not going to gain an ounce, so don't worry about that. Yes, calorie-free, fat-free, we're everything free, right? Okay, so go ahead and go into the Facebook group so you guys can see the picture, because it's really, really cute. I love that picture. Every year makes me smile when I kind of look through their old costumes and how we used to kind of, do all kinds of crazy stuff with them. I don't know how we had the time or the energy to do all that stuff, but we did. And here we are, and now we're crafting, and I'm using the energy for that. Okay, so got our drinks, we got our snacks, and I hope you're in your cozy spot, or at least a little safe place to watch, because we're ready to get started today. And in case you missed us yesterday, we are working on hopscotch. If you're wondering what is this hopscotch that they're talking about, this is the pattern that we are working on. It's a pieced panel quilt, and it starts off with the panel in the middle, and then you have some squares that you're gonna kind of put together with some sashing. It's got a nice little border all the way around, and it's a really pretty quilt. Matter of fact, let me see what the finished size. It's quite a large quilt, actually. It's 56.5 up to 72.5. So quite a nice size for the quilt. And you can go to Quilting Renditions, and let me see if their website, yeah, it's quiltingrenditions.com. They have, if you type in hopscotch, it'll come up with all different panels. You won't find, at least I didn't find this one particularly, but they have a whole bunch of other ones too. But if you have a panel in your stash and a whole bunch of fabrics, you can definitely make this up and do a pattern of your own and create your own quilt. Wouldn't that be cool that you've created it from scratch, not following a pattern? Pretty cool. You're working on my Victorian vampire costume. Wow. Well, that sounds amazing. I can only imagine what that's going to look like. Oh, please post a picture on Facebook when you're done with it. I really want to see that. That's pretty cool. Awesome. Yeah, it's always fun to make costumes. I like to see what everyone comes up with. We've got such gifted people out here, and it's just amazing. You guys amaze me with all the stuff that you work on. And, it's the colors you put together, the patterns. I mean, it's pretty cool. And you guys inspire me to keep going. So thank you for that. Okay, so where are we in terms of the quilt? I keep getting sidetracked here. Okay, focus. Here we go. So hopscotch, panel quilt. We've got blocks, we've got panel, and we've got batik fabrics. Yeah, I finally cut them. I did. I showed you guys the fabrics yesterday. So beautiful. Here's some of the ones that I cut. These are like the larger blocks. God. Love, love, love the fabrics. I think they are gorgeous, and had a very nervous, I don't know why I was kind of so nervous cutting these fabrics. They were just so beautiful. I just was so afraid that I would mess them up. I really didn't want to mess up these fabrics because they're just so gorgeous. So I went ahead and I cut them. There's two different sizes. So a couple of things you had to cut. You had to cut your sashing that you're going to use. And let me bring this back again. So you've got sashing in between the two blocks going across this way, and you've got sashing going across vertically here between the blocks. So if you're not following a pattern, take two fabrics that you like, that you want to use for your top and for your bottom, or you can do different ones. You can do 4, 2 and 2. And then these are going to be the two the two fabrics that are going to be coordinated with each other. So two fabrics here, and then pick your sashing. Whatever size you want to cut your larger squares to, you have to pick that size. And then whatever size you decide to do your smaller rectangles to, you have to pick. So you have to pick just two sizes. one for a larger rectangle and one for a smaller rectangle. And then your sashing in between has to be the same size as that width, right? From end to end. And then you're going to do sashing. Once you've sewn these two together, you're going to do your sashing that's going to be in between the blocks going across vertically. So you want to pick that size here, right? And then you're going to have those all attached here, all attached on the bottom, and then we're going to piece them together with the panel. And then for a border, you can decide what you want to do for a border, if you even want to do a border at all. So that's totally up to you. But we went ahead and I cut the large squares. So this is what my large squares are going to be. So you've got these two fabrics here as my large. And then my smaller squares, I decided to make the lighter fabrics. So these are going to be kind of like that. See, so I've got my lights. These are going to be considered my lights, and these are going to be considered my darks. So my darks are going to be my larger squares, and my lights are going to be my smaller squares. So I still have some cutting to do, but I do need to kind of subcut these smaller ones here. But I did cut the sashing, the small sashing and the larger sashing that's going to go vertically and horizontally. And then I have these that I cut up that I'm going to have to subcut. And I can do that part later on, and that's going to be the larger sashings that are all around the panel itself and on the top and bottom. Okay, so those are kind of set here. I just have to subcut those now. And then for my smaller rectangles here, I just need to subcut them because right now they're just one long strip. So let's get to that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pick one here, and I'm going to lay this out. So you see I did cut out a strip here. So pretty. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to subcut these. And I was kind of going yesterday. And then I said, you know, I guess I should hold off because I'll just continue and just finish the whole thing. And then you guys wouldn't see anything. So I had to kind of force myself to stop. So I did. And so here we are here. You know, sometimes you're just in that zone and you just want to just keep going and going. Yeah, that was kind of me. So here we are. So this side is all cleaned and cut up. And I think this side needs to be trimmed a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and do the subcuts here. And let me see. Ruler. Oh, for this particular pattern, I had to use my 12 by 12 inch ruler because my longer ruler only goes up to 6 inches and my smaller one was 6 inches as well. And this one I'm doing at 6.5 inches wide. So I decided that my ruler was probably the best way to go for this. And let me just grab the pattern here. I'm going to be doing, let's see, 6.5, 4.5 is what I'm going to be doing here. So I'm just going to kind of line this up here. And I'm going to try to get it a little bit closer to me. One of the things you want to also look at, and sometimes it's worth kind of doing, is your mat. Like, so for this mat particularly, it's got some gray and it's got some white on it. And depending on what kind of fabric you're working on, sometimes it's better to work on the lighter side of your mat, and sometimes it's better to work on the darker side of your mat because it helps you to kind of see the lines. So this one has dotted lines for every quarter, which is kind of nice because I'm able to kind of see every quarter on here. But every mat is just a little bit different. But when I'm working with dark fabrics on the dark mat, it sometimes makes it a little bit harder to see what I'm doing because the lines, you know, are a little harder to see because they're light, but they're thin. So sometimes it's good to work on the lighter side of the mat. And then when I'm working with light fabrics, it's better to work on the dark side. So you may have to kind of flip it because this one has a dark side and a light side. So you may have to flip your mat every once in a while, depending on the fabrics you're working on. Can be a little bit of a pain, but some people just kind of deal with it and kind of move on. But they have different options. And then they have some mats that are just dark. And I'm not sure I'm a fan of those, because then sometimes I really do need to be able to see. So I need that lighter one. So it's kind of like, I like having the two sides with one dark, one light. So not sure what you guys use in terms of a cutting mat. I've used this one for many, many years. I've got multiple of them and I like the size of it, but it's just helpful when it's two different colors, one dark and one light, and I can flip them back and forth. It's just that it's kind of a pain to flip when you have stuff all over, right? Anyway, just wondering what you guys use on your end. Okay, so let me move. I'm actually going to do this way. So I said 6.5 and 4.5, and I'm putting this not the way I want it. There we go. Okay. So I'm lining up, and I'm not using my mat so much. I'm just kind of making sure that I am straight on the mat. And then I'm just going to go to my ruler and line myself up with, I'm going to do 4.5 and I'm going to do 6.5. And that's what my cut's going to be. Now I have my fabric folded. My fold is over on this end. And so I'm just going to subcut till I get near that fold. That way I'm cutting 2 at a time, not 1 at a time. Saves you a little bit of time here. But you do need to make sure that your fabrics are lined up on top of each other. So I'm using my Quilter Select 45 millimeter. And that's just one of my new ones that I got. I picked up at the expo. And I think it works great. And so once I do my cut, I just kind of set it aside, and then I kind of go assembly style, and I can just kind of move that way. Okay. Making sure I am straight on top and on bottom. And then holding it down nice and flush. Let me see how many of it said. I'm going to do 6 of these. So we've got 2, 4. Let's move this. 4.5. There we go. And 6.5. There we are. And a cut. So 2, 4, and 6. And look at how much extra we have. Pretty cool. Let me just double check that. Yeah, we're going to cut 6 of each fabric. So we're going to have a total of a total of 12 of them. Let's see. So pretty cool. This is why the 12.5 and by 12.5 is my favorite. Yeah, it is. It's, you know, it comes in handy all the time. I'm constantly reaching out for it, honestly. It really does work well. Love my Quilter Select rotary cutter. The weight of it really helps my cutting. Yeah, doesn't it? I think it's so cool that it's just, it has that weight. It's kind of like a feeling, you know? It's like, oh, it's such a difference. Like I actually, I'm trying to think of a class. There was a class that I took at an expo. And I think it was an expo in Florida, in Lakeland, Florida. And she had us do some cutting in the class, and she had some rotary cutters up on the front. And so, you know, rather than me pulling my stuff out, I said, let me just go to the front and grab it because nobody was using it. So I went up to the front, and she had a Quilter Select. And I was like, I went and I took it, and I was like, oh, wow, it's weighted, and then did the cut. And I was like, oh, wow, I love this rotary cutter. This is pretty cool. And I went out after the class and I got myself the rotary cutter, but they only had it for 60 inches. They didn't have the 45. And so they had ran out of those. So I went ahead and I got the 60. And then I waited, and then when I went to the expo again now in Virginia, they had the 45. So I snagged it. Yeah. Oh gosh, I love it. I love it. It's really nice how, you know, the weight of it, it's just makes such a big difference. It really, really does. So if you don't have the Quilter Select rotary cutter, give it a try. Give it a try, because once you feel it, once you feel it in your hands, you're going to feel the weight of it, and there's a difference. It's pretty cool. I think it really helps for the cutting too. Okay, so what am I doing? I am lining up my edges here because I'm going to do the same thing that I just did with my other with my other fabric. I have the folds here on the end, and I've got my edges here, and I'm going to be cutting 2 at a time. So let's lay this down, ruler on top, make sure everything is in line. And we're going to line this up here. Let me scoot this down. Okay, I want 4.5. That's what I am looking for, by 6.5. Yep, we're good. Holding it down, grabbing my rotary cutter, and off we go. And it's so nice when you have a new rotary cutter, how the blade is so sharp. Ah, love it. Love it, love it, love it. I'm pretty bad at that, to change my blade. I forget a lot of the times. But I got to try to make it a habit. Especially when you're starting a new project that's requires a lot of cutting. You want to make sure that blade is sharpened, or if it's new, you know, definitely want to do that. Okay, so 1, 2. Let's move this one down, and we're going to do 4.5. Here we go. Boom, boom. I'm checking all my sides. Hold it down and go ahead, make that cut. Okay.
We have some good news.
We have good news. Oh, what's the good news?
Barbara says.
What does Barbara say? I have great news this morning. After 2 weeks in hospital, my grandson is coming home today. Yay! Awesome! Well, congrats. That's awesome. Well, I'm sure that your grandson is going to be excited to be home. That's awesome. Amazing. Well, have fun bringing him home. Yes, bring him home and tell him he's not coming back. Not coming back to that hospital. That's awesome. Wonderful news. Wonderful. Okay. So I've got my 6 fabrics. I've got 3 here and 3 here. And now I think we are ready to just start sewing here. So I've got a couple other subcuts to do. And one thing that I do like to do, and I kind of made a mark so I knew where I was going to be today. So I just kind of check these off as I go. And like I have a little star on one of my lines because that's one that I know I have to go back and subcut, which are those long strips that we were talking about. So I do have to cut that. And I do have the outer border, which is this beautiful green color, right? This is the outer border for the panel, and I do have to cut that one, but I'm going to hold that one off to the end. I did go ahead and iron all my fabrics last night and my panel so that they are all nice and pressed, and I am ready to just start sewing. So we're going to kind of put these over here, and let's make myself some space here so we can bring Miss Molly over, because Miss Molly's got some work to do. So let's pull. This is all extra, guys. Look at the extra you get, and this is folded, okay? If I unfold that, that's a lot. I can do something with this, you know? So they were pretty generous in terms of the amount of fabric. So if you mess up a cut, you still have. So pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to put this away. And I like to keep everything in the bag, all the extra pieces. I hold everything off until the very end. And then once I'm completely done with the project, I know I don't need any more, and then I can use it for whatever I want. But yeah, try to keep everything together, because you never know if you mess something up and you got to recut another piece, you got everything in one place. So keep them all together. Okay, so let's put this over here. We've got some rulers and whatnot over here. Yeah, you can see I was cutting away. I've got everything, got all my rulers. Yeah, and I take out more rulers and they keep coming out from all over the place. So I'm going to give you guys my back for just a second because I'm going to put these away. And yes, these are those ruler sliders. I did kind of test them out. I know I kind of told you guys about these. They're ruler sliders, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I know we've talked about slipping rulers, right, and all kinds of things and gadgets out there, the sprays, all kinds of things that you can put. This one has the spray on it. This one has the little, what do you call these? I forget what they're called. The little circular things. They're like adhesive that you kind of...
Non-stick?
Yeah, it's like a non-stick thing that you put on your rulers so that they don't slip and slide. So this one has that. This one has the spray. Then they have these ruler lips that you kind of put on the end of your ruler here, and they're supposed to prevent it from slipping. I'm not a fan of it because once you put it on, I like to be able to see my measurements, and they kind of cover that. So that bothers me a little bit. And then it's lifting the ruler up so you're able to slide it, but I don't see it being non-slip. If anything, it's sliding all over the place. So yeah, dots, thank you. Yes, it's these adhesive dots and they're non-stick. And so yeah, they work pretty good on the ruler. But these little slidey things, like this is not non-slip. This is kind of just all over the place. And I mean, it's pretty cool because it lifts your ruler. So it allows you to kind of, if you're subcutting, you know, you can kind of move your fabric underneath it pretty easy, but then you got to really press it down. And I'm like, I don't like that I'm pressing down in the middle, could be warping my ruler. So not real fan of this, but I did give it a test and, you know, we tried it out. So I don't know, they gave these out for free. So these were just something that they were promoting, but sorry, I'm just not a fan of them. At least not on these rulers, not for me. But probably for some other project, they could be useful. So I'm going to give my back to you for a second so I can open my drawer and just kind of put these rulers away. I do hold my rulers on my top drawer there. And now let's bring some stuff over. Bring my little pencil in place. I've got some fabrics to move out of the way. I'm going to fold that here. All right. Come on, Miss Molly. It's time to wake up here. Here we go. All righty. Let's put this over to the side here. And so let me scoot her over just a little bit here. We've got the 6 light fabrics that are going to be the small rectangles. And then if I can reach over here for a bit, we've got the 6 dark fabrics that are going to be the larger rectangles. And then we have our sashing that's going to go in between. This is the shorter sashing, and then we have the longer sashing here. Okay, I've got invisible thread here somewhere, somehow. Not sure why it unraveled on me, but I've got to figure out what's going on there. Okay. And so this is kind of what it would look like, except you would flip this. So this would kind of look something like this. I believe, oh, I would need a sashing in between here too. So let's take one. And I'll need to move this down a little bit. Can you guys see that? Let me move this over just a tad so you guys could see. This is kind of the layout. I've got one that's out of place here. Come on. There we go. And this is kind of what it's going to look like. And so when I say, you know, you can use your stash. Okay. This is what I mean. Like, you just need rectangles, right? And so what you're going to do is basically just alternate. So small rectangle, sash, large rectangle. Then here it's large rectangle, sash, small rectangle. So you're doing the same, you're sewing them the same, and then you're just flipping them. And that's going to be your top and bottom blocks here. So that's all you're doing is just sewing and flipping them. Okay. And so whatever you decide, whatever size you decide to be your bottom rectangle, you know, make that your size. And then whatever you decide to be the smaller one, you make that size. You just have to be consistent. Get 6 of these and 6 of these of each fabric, right? And then just go ahead and rotate them and add the sashing. So that's what it's going to come out. And we're going to be making, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns of these. That's about the width of the panel that you have. So what I'm going to do, it tells you to go ahead and trim up the panel. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew. First, I'm going to sew my blocks together. So we're going to sew them to have this piece right here. We're going to sew our big block to our sashing and our small block to create that. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew all the way across on the columns and, you know, attach the sashing in between of those columns. Once I've done that, then I'm going to take a look at what my width is. And then I'm going to trim my panel to the width. And you can do it the other way around. You can trim your panel and then trim off your blocks if your panel is, you know, shorter than what your blocks end up being. But I don't want to distort the size of the two ends, right? Because if you do that, then you end up having to trim a little bit of here. And so it doesn't really look exactly like the rest of the blocks. So I'm going to go ahead and do my top and bottom borders. And then after I've done that, make sure that top and bottom are the same width, right? And then I'm going to take my panel, and with my panel, I'm going to measure and bump that up against my top and bottom and see where I have to trim off at that point. So that's what's going to allow me to keep my top and bottom borders symmetric so that I don't have to trim off the sides of these blocks. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, I want these to look exactly the same, but if I trim my panel first, then at some point I may have to trim the borders on the sides. And so now this one's going to look shorter than the ones that are in the middle. And so in order to keep these completely symmetric and keep these at that same size, and want to keep these all the same size, that's what I'm going to have to do, is do the top and bottom first and then do the border. So we're going to go a little bit off of what the directions tell you to do here, just because I want to maintain that look. And I think these fabrics are just really, really pretty, and I don't want to subcut any of these sizes just to fit the width of the panel. So that's what we're doing. Okay, any questions, you guys let me know. Or if you do it a little bit different, let me know too, because you know there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? You definitely have different ways to do this. So let me know in the chat if you are doing this project with me, or you're working on something else, or if you have a different method in terms of how you attach your panels to your borders on any of the ones that you've done. But this is my thought process. This way, you guys, we saw the panel yesterday, and we saw how some of the leaves kind of go off all the way to the edge. So it really doesn't really matter which side I decide to trim off of on the panel. But for me, it does matter, because I don't want to have my edges on the end here cut off because my width of the panel is short. So I would basically be cutting in this way. And so look what happens when I put my stick right on top of this bottom border. You've got all these other borders nice and wide, and then these on the side will be cut off because they have to align with the width of this panel. And so that kind of distorts this on here on the bottom. So I don't want to do that. So I want to make sure that this block is all even going all the way across. So we want to have this panel aligned to whatever the top and bottom width is when we put that together. So that's what we're doing, and that's why I'm doing it this way. So let's go ahead now, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do these together. So I have this long strip that I don't need just yet. So I'm going to kind of stick these over to the side. So all we're doing at this point are making our blocks. So we are going to just stitch these together right here. And it really doesn't matter how I have it oriented, because you can just flip them after, especially since this is petite fabrics. So they go good either side. You know, they don't allow, if you have something that's directional, or maybe it's a particular fabric that you want oriented a certain way, then go ahead and orient it first before you put it together. Cindy says, so what size are your fabric squares? So my small ones are 6.5 by 4.5. And my larger ones were, I want to say it was 7.5. Hold on. Was 6.5 by 7.5. So that's what I'm using as my squares for top and bottom. And then your sashing, of course, needs to also meet that size. So you want to make sure that you're doing it that way. So right here, let me just double check that. Yep, 6.5 and 6.5. Make sure that you, since it's so close, I'm doing 6.5, 7.5. Make sure that this is 6.5, not 7.5, right? You don't want to sew it this way because, well, you'll be off too from the sashing here because your sashing is 6.5. So just be careful with that. And I like my little pumpkins here, so I want to try to orient it so that my pumpkins are facing the right way too. So let's start off with this stitch right here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my batiks, grab one of my sashing, and I'm just going to line that up together. You can line it up on the top, you can line it up on the bottom, it doesn't matter, just that, you know, when you're done, then you gotta put the bottom part. So either way, just line it up here, top to bottom, make sure it's nice and straight and overlapping, and then you can put a pin if you want. We'll go ahead and pin it. Let me just grab some of my pins. I have to put some in a little jar. Oh, you know what, guys, my daughter, I saw her over the weekend, and she gave me these little containers. This like a whole pack of containers that you can get at Amazon. And some of them are really small, so you can put like your pins and whatnot. And then other ones, you know, they've got different sizes. So it's pretty cool because it helps you kind of organize your drawers and stuff inside. So I started putting kind of little things. I got little clips, you know, that I put in here. Kind of just makes it easy to kind of reach and get some stuff. But it's a whole pack. She gave me two. Here's another one. This one I haven't opened. I'll have to see if I can grab it. So it's a whole pack. And it comes with one larger one. And then it comes with the smaller ones on the sides too. And they kind of stack. So it's pretty cool. I like it. And I'm using it. And I got a bunch of them already on the side here. And I started kind of reorganizing my drawers behind me, just putting everything in the little containers. Just makes it easy to grab so they don't slide around all over the place in the drawer. So pretty neat. She said she got it on Amazon, so not exactly sure what she paid for it and stuff, but that was kind of my little gift, along with a little cart that she gave me as well. So I was able to kind of put my stuff nice and together. All right. So got this here, and I'm going to go ahead and just pinch my fabrics, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my pin on here. So give it a little pinch, and putting my pin in there just to hold that in place. And then I do the same thing on the other side. So you don't want these to move around on you. And then I just kind of lay it flat, check it again, make sure it's good. And then I can bring this over to my sewing machine. So I've got my pins in place and I'm ready to go. So, all right, Miss Molly, good morning to you. It's time to get to work because we've got some quilts to make here. And I've got my sew cam on here so you guys can see everything that we're doing here. It's got a nice close-up shot. You can see my pin here in place. Let me lift this up so I can slide it here. And you can see my other pins also in place. I do both ends here because you want to make sure that as you're sewing that this side over here doesn't start slipping and sliding on you. You want it to stay nice and in place. So let's line this up here. Bring my tail to the back. And I'm going to line it up right underneath. Did I tell you guys how I love this machine? Like the feet dogs, just like grab that fabric and it doesn't move. It's so cool. Really big difference compared to my other machine. Good morning, Miss Molly. It's time to shine. It sure is. Good morning, right? All right. So I've got this underneath. I got the 1/4 inch mark right on the machine here. Isn't that cool? I also have my diagonal seam tape that I put out here as well, so I can line up on that. And then all I have is I put this underneath my foot here, and I'm just going to basically let the machine do the work. You don't have to push the fabric. Don't pull the fabric. Don't pull it from behind. You don't need to do any of that. Let the machine do the work for you. The feet dogs do the work that are underneath this foot right here. They're going to be pulling the fabric away from you. And let them do their job, because as long as you keep the fabric straight on this end, it's going to pull your fabric straight on the other end. And don't keep your eyes on the needle. The needle's just going up and down. It's not doing anything special. It's not special. Don't look at it. Don't look at that needle. You want to look at your fabric and making sure that you are aligned and feeding your fabric in nice and straight. So don't let that needle distract you, okay? So keep yourself nice and straight. And so what I'll do is just take a couple of stitches, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this pin out because I'm really close. You can get even closer, but I think I'm good there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sew this somewhere up, keeping things nice and straight. If you need a little break, take your foot off the pedal, just give yourself a breather, and then grab the end here. See how this end here in this corner? This is something that I used to do it all the time. I get towards the very end and, oh, okay, I'm finished. And so I kind of let go and it kind of moves to the side and I get this little curve here on the end. Don't do that. I had a bad habit. I think I'm breaking that habit though. I've gotten really good now. I put my finger right on that edge. Right? See how my finger's right on that edge? Don't let that edge go. Bring it up all the way to the foot, so you're bringing it all the way to the end, and you'll have that nice 1/4 inch seam. So we're going to bring it up to the pin, and then we're going to pause so we can take the pin out. And there we go. Let's take that pin out. And you see we're still going right along that line, nice and straight. So let's go ahead and bring the rest of that to the end and cut that thread. And there we go. Nice 1/4 inch seam. Can you guys see that? There you go. Nice 1/4 inch seam all the way to the end. Very nice. And so now we're going to have to press this open. And you can see, can you guys see the little, I think you can see it better here. It was hard to see yesterday. You see that little tint of yellow that it has in the fabric? It's very faint. On the camera, it almost looks like this border here is white, but it's not. It is a batik, and it's got some of that yellow in it. Very, very faint, but very nice. Love that. Okay, so now what we need to do is grab our iron and iron this down, and then we're going to kind of move on to the bigger block and attach that one. So I'm going to have to scoot this over just to the side a little bit here. I know we're running kind of low on time. So maybe, actually, maybe what we can do, I'm going to kind of skip the iron and I'm going to finger press it with you guys, and I will go back and press it later. So I'm going to finger press this, and I'm going to grab the second rectangle. Now this is the larger one, right? And so here we are, we're going to just line it up. It's batik, so it doesn't matter which side you are lining up, but if you're not using batik fabrics, you know, go ahead and make sure that you're doing right sides together. And I'll do it with you here. Okay, so here we are, right sides together, line it up here, and here we go. Make sure you check your alignment on the top and bottom all the way down here too, right? You're looking at the top, you want to align your top, but you also want to align the sides here. Make sure that this is not droopy and going kind of sideways and wonky on you. So go ahead and line it up this way. You could put a pin on one side here, so you know that that doesn't move, but then you're pinning this side because this is where you're going to be sewing. So you want to pinch that here, put a pin there, right? And then you're going to do the same on this side. And then just kind of use your fingernails to kind of scratch it into place if it kind of runs out of place there. Pinch that, put that there, nice and flat. And then I'm checking this side, use my fingernails to scratch it right into place. And then pinch it there and kind of put that there. And then I just lay it flat and take another look. Take another peek here to make sure that everything here is lined up the way you want it. And then bring it over to your sewing machine, and we're going to do that 1/4 inch seam allowance. So let's go back to our sew cam. And here we are, lining this up again, right underneath here. And here we go. Okay. Get that pin out. And make sure we are nice and straight. Get that other pin out. Grab that edge with my fingernail and get all the way through. There we go. Nice 1/4 inch seam again. And so now we're ready to take the other 2 pins off that we're kind of holding it in place to make sure it's nice and straight. And then go ahead and open it up. And you're going to give it a nice press. And so you've got to look to see how you want to align your edges here, right? So you want to make sure. I am going to go ahead and press them on the inside here. I do not believe the pattern tells you which way your seams should be going. And I lost the instructions again. Oh, here we go. Here we are. Let's see. Do they tell us? They usually do, but okay. So yeah, you're pressing your seams to the inside. So seams are going to be going this way, which naturally they kind of fall that way. You see how they're kind of already bending towards the inside? So it's going to be really easy to just kind of press that with your iron. So you definitely want to do that. And then you've got your nice, beautiful little block here, and it's ready to go. So this one is good, and then we're just going to keep going with some other ones. And we'll alternate them. Again, you're going to have a big block and a small block, and you're going to alternate the layout of them and get them going. So let's see here. We can quickly, we are running a little low on time, so I'm going to see if I can quickly just do another one really quick with you. Grab another piece of sashing, again making sure I'm at 6.5, which is what my sashing is cut to. Okay, scratch this over and let's pin it down. So pin this way, lay that flat, and I'll pin it this way And if you find little tiny imperfections on your cutting, like maybe this is off just a slightly, right? Yep, I think it's off just a tad. It's okay because it's so small, you're not going to see it, and it's going to be eaten away in the seam allowance, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, let's go ahead and get this one going. Right there. Just take a couple of stitches, and I'm going to remove my pen here. Nice and straight. Take off that last pin, and let's see this all the way through. There you go. Alrighty. Yay. And now I'm not using the knee lift. This machine has the knee lift, but I'm not using the knee lift because this table has like a little bar because it's got like 2 little shelves underneath. So I'm not able to use the knee lift in this position. When I'm just sewing myself, I can take out the knee lift and kind of adjust to the other side and do it. But when we're on camera, unfortunately, I'm not able to use it, but that's okay. It's okay. We're all good. You know, gotta get, you know, settled when I get into the new craft room and set things up just a little better. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and pin this way as well. And pin again. Scratch, scratch. There it is. And of course, I'm doing my sides so they don't move around on me. Especially when you're with this fabric, you know, cotton fabric is one thing, but when you're dealing with batiks or that slippery, stretchy type of fabric, it can move around on you. So you want to pin it and then kind of, I'd like to pat it down flat so I can really look to see, to make sure I'm all covered here. And let's bring this over here, line this up underneath, take a couple of stitches, and here we go. Okay, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I hear Mr. H is just laughing and giggling over there, and I don't know what's going on.
I love these guys. They're the best.
Yeah, uh-huh.
They appreciate me.
He's making fun of me, guys. Is that what he's doing? I don't know. You guys are having too much fun in that chat over there. He said you guys are the best if you guys can't hear him. So there we go. All righty. There we are. Okay, we happen to do our second one. Yay. And this project's really going to fly by if you don't have distractions, you know, like like Mr. H. So now that we've got our second one nice and done, this is kind of what the layout will look like. Now, I'll mix and match these, but I'll just want to give you the concept of the layout so you can see here. It's going to be, move this over. It's going to be the small square, big square, big square, small square, and you kind of rotate that. Of course, you're going to have to iron this so it lays nice and flat and looks good. And you're going to have the sashing in between here as well. So that sashing will go in between once you start putting the columns together. But I'm going to put all my squares together, do all my blocks, and then once I have all my blocks, then I'll attach it to the sashing and go across. So pretty cool. And I'm just going to keep going, and by tomorrow I'll have all of this stuff done, and then we'll be ready to kind of do the larger sashing to the panels, and we're going to be done in no time. It's going to be that quick. I mean, this is a really quick and easy way to get a gift out really fast. Alrighty, we are out of time, but let's run over and grab our inspirational quote of the day. All right, today's quote of the day is, "Even the smallest step in sewing holds purpose, shaping the beauty of the finished piece." And Every small step that you take is going to be towards your project and getting it done. So these are the kinds of projects that are really quick and easy to do. So just do the small steps. Don't think about the whole project. Take the small steps in stride and just finish each little step. And before you know it, you're going to be done in no time. And that is my inspiration for you today. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in. I know we are out of time, but I really love all the support that you guys give to us, for me and for Mr. H and Miss Molly over here. We love meeting with you every morning, and I really appreciate all the support you guys give us each and every day. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
Nancy with GiftsHQ makes crafting videos, creating with passion and a love for what she sews. Crochet, quilting, and sewing, crafting is what she knows. Making smiles one craft at a time. Your talent will grow with every stitch and every thread she weaves her on. Her hands create something special straight from the heart. And as the colors come alive, the joy spreads near and far. Nancy and her gifted crafters shine like bright stars. She's Nancy with GiftsHQ, the queen of crafting.